Kick off.
Hello, everyone. We are Consciousness Incorporated, and I'm Denise Kohnke, and my one-of-a-kind, no one else like him, co-host,
Adam Vasquez.
And just so you know, we are laughing at each other right now because we decided who would kick off 1 second before we went live. So,
That's right. Well, I mean, we're just trying to mix it up. So Consciousness Incorporated. What do we talk about on this show, Denise? Not this show per spic, but the Consciousness Incorporated podcast overall.
Podcast overall, we are talking about the intersection between consciousness and business. And when I say consciousness, there's lots of different definitions that people have in their head, predetermined. The definition we use is the vibration structure of the universe based on high and low vibrations and the thing that connects us all. May the force be with us. That's actually founded. What is going on? I'm so sorry.
The universe is calling, Denise.
The universe is calling.
It wants its podcast back.
Oh, good grief. Why is this happening all the time? 12 episodes, it never happened.
I think there's a mute button. You can hit it on vibrate.
My mute button is broken. It is broken. I have the mute button on.
So some of you who are watching this live or on YouTube later may see that I'm in a new location. I'm down here in Florida, visiting family and helping out with the beautiful view of the water and the beautiful Indian River. So for me, water, I'm a water sign, Denise, and we'll talk about personality types. But for me, water, and being from a planet called from the area called Mintaka, I am also a water being. That's where I think that's my origin for where my incarnation started. So for me, water is healing. Water is life. I just feel better around water. I know I'm not the only one. I think most people do, but I could literally just lay in water all day and be comfortable like a fish. So that is me.
That is Adam, and that's how he describes his personality type, which is an origin story. Yes. But today we're going to talk about personality types, and it actually deserves more than just a mention. But this is, again, 2 minutes before we started, Adam said, "Oh, I want to talk about astrology too." Totally, you got that. I'm big into it, as people who know me know. My children got 20-page astrological forecasts for Valentine's Day this week. So I'm happy to do that. But today we're going to talk about shadows and triggers and where archetypes and shadows come from, which all originate with Carl Jung. And Carl Jung was a disciple, student of, why can't I think of Freud? Okay, Freud. I don't like Freud. Freud was all about...
He's very clinical.
Mother, father, you must have loved your mother, or you must have hated your mother, all that sort of stuff. Carl Jung developed an understanding of personalities because he felt that there was a consciousness, what we talk about all the time, consciousness, and that this shared consciousness came into a child when that child was born. And maybe the shared consciousness and knowing came in prior to that. So he based all his work on the idea of shared consciousness and universal truths about personality, which begot the 12 archetypes. It went through a few derivations. They hit 4, and then but it begot the 12 archetypes that marketers, consciousness and business, marketers now use quite a lot. I use them a lot because it really helps define a brand voice. And what I tell clients when we kind of work together to get an archetype for the brand, it's like, imagine, if you will, you are not representing the brand. Someone in your organization is representing the brand on the fly. Well, they got to kind of know what role they're playing on behalf of the organization. Are they playing the role of the magician, or are they playing the role of the ruler? And understanding that helps them bring context to behavior, the behavior of the brand and their behavior as a representative of the brand.
Well, and let's talk about these archetypes. I mean, really what we're talking about is frequencies and energy, right? So what Carl Jung did is he really tried to, I guess, well, personify our personalities. I mean, literally, lack for a better term. And, you know, I would say it's not perfect. I think they're data points. And it goes to this bigger discussion why I wanted to bring up astrology and zodiac signs, because, you know, we talk about, right, Denise, reincarnation a lot. And this is what I believe from what my research is. And there's a little bit of a knowingness. You know, if we reincarnate on multiple planets, Denise, and we'll just call Earth one of the multiple video games or virtual realities we can incarnate into, which we're playing right now. And it's ironic because our soul is playing, our higher self is playing all the games multiple times simultaneously all time, which you can't even get our human minds around that, right? Then if you think about what you start in a sort of a role-playing game, have you ever played a role-playing game, Denise? Like not a role-playing like at home and board game, but like a massive online RPG with
no, you're talking about like Dungeons and Dragons and shit.
Yeah, I'm talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I was an improv person.
Okay, so when you start any of those type of role-playing games, you get to pick your character, right?
Your avatar,
right? How it looks,
yes.
Its attributes, meaning is it good at this or it's not as good as that? What it likes. If you're in Dungeons and Dragons, how much charisma do you want? If you're a warrior, you're going to want more strength. If you're a wizard, you're going to want more intelligence. These kind of things, right? Because it helps you later down the road in what you're trying to achieve in the game and how you're trying to play it.
Yes.
Now, if you think about these archetypes, these reflect
and life in general.
In life. Well, life is a game. If we're playing Earth, okay,
we're playing it. We're playing
the video game. We're playing the video game Earth, and ironically, we're playing a game within a game all the time, which is very Shakespeare, like a play within a play. So we've selected that, and I believe at the celestial level, zodiac signs are actually what we select from our attributes, which then reflect into archetypes and create these things. So it's like, I want this to be this and this to be that and this to be this, because that's going to empower me for these life catalysts that I want to achieve in this life. And that's going to help me the best, so to speak. So if you think about these archetypes, zodiac signs, how they feed it, all of this stuff, which we'll talk about, and these produce triggers, like you said, which are triggers are based off of not only these avatar personalities, but also our soul group experiences within our soul group. But I think there are also past life experiences that go into these triggers too. What do you think about that?
I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Denise?
Okay. I think what you said, and for the audience, for all the things that we talk about, Adam, which are a lot, we don't talk about astrology very much, or haven't.
No, we haven't.
So, that's something that we just haven't gotten there yet, and haven't shared it. But what you just said, now, for me, that explains a lot. For me, if you choose to believe in all the things that we talked about, past lives,
soul groups, soul planning,
knowing people that are in your soul group, the half second when you meet them, it's like, oh, why am I attracted to this person? Oh my God, this person is in my soul group and has been for millennia. So if you believe in all that stuff, then the concept of astrology and choosing your birth based on planetary alignments, okay, fine, but man, this has been millennia that they've been charting this. So do not discount. I mean, these people built, they built the pyramids based on, the alignment of planets and stars. So, and they built them very well. Thank you.
And for healing and other things that we don't even, it's honestly, it's technology and science that has been lost.
Lost. So the idea of astrology in my mind's eye, and I have been watching this for decades and decades. I'm 100% in, because it's always kind of right. And when you look at astrology by way of personality, I think it's, you have to factor things. You factor decans, which again, we didn't talk about astrology. First, second, and third decans of the sign that you're in each have, so an Aries or a Scorpio will have first, second, and third decans. And then those traits are specific within Scorpio. You also have rising signs, when the sun is rising, when the moon is rising. Those things factor in, as well as where you're born and what time you're born.
And Denise, so I'm a noob when it comes to astrology, and I'm learning about it. And the more I learn about it and what else I know about, interplanetary souls and species and everything else, it actually makes more sense. Honestly, it actually makes a lot of sense, and explains how we build these avatars around us. And actually, lunar cycles, I actually believe, are software updates to this.
Oh, that's an interesting way of
to a system.
That's cool. I like that.
And so this is just me learning and exploring and connecting the dots. So explain to me, like, everybody talks about it's your primary sun sign, right? Which is, what we all think. I'm a Scorpio. Denise, what are you? I know what Denise is, but I'm going to ask her.
Oh, you know what this one is. We were playing.
I know your birthday, so
you know my birthday. I'm an Aries, and I have Scorpio rising, which is why I understand you.
And I'm a Leo rising.
You're a Leo rising. I don't know what from Leo. I don't even know any Leos, but that's rising in you. But we both have kinds of types. I like Scorpio people. I like Virgo people. All my friends are, I'll name them Scorpios. I'm really attracted to Virgos and Libras and Aquariuses. And, it happens over and over and over in the course of your lifetime.
And then there's the moon sign, which I am a Capricorn. So I am a Scorpio, Leo, Capricorn.
I don't know my new moon sign.
So maybe that's something, that's some homework, Denise. Look that up real quickly while we're going through this. But so from what I've researched and explained, and you're way more advanced at this than I am. I'm just
right. And I want to have an astrologer on here because I'm playing an astrologer. I am not an astrologer.
We will definitely have an astrologer. But the thing that's interesting is, you get your readings and everything. The three of them are almost as important as what we think is our primary sign. Our rising sign or ascending sign is as important, because like a Scorpio is kind of how we sort of feel on the inside about things. A Leo, like my rising sign, is how people see and how our sort of personality projects out to the world. So it kind of probably makes sense. I seem like an extrovert, a Leo, that kind of thing, and it's kind of a bigger sort of outgoing personality. And then the third sign, which I'm Capricorn, that's like how we and I'm going to butcher this, so please correct me if there are those who are listening, because I'm a student of this, that it is more of a how we do things. So being a Capricorn, like I'll just do harder work. I'll just keep working harder on something. I'll just put more time
Yeah,
in it.
Capricorns are like that.
I'll just try to
They
work
just
through it, force it through, right?
they
You're like,
are
oh, it's not working. We'll just put more time and effort
yeah,
into it,
that's
right?
what
And I've realized
Capricorns do.
and I've realized that's actually force. And so I try to come from more of a power place, which we've talked about in other podcasts, where you let things flow rather than try to brute them into place, which a Capricorn, I think, does. Certainly a Taurus probably does too.
Oh,
But
I'm a Taurus. I'm a
so
Taurus moon. I looked it up while we were.
so you kind of, so what does that mean if you're a Taurus moon?
Okay, here's what it means, because I'm going to read it because I
This
just
is real time, folks. This is
real
why we're
time,
live.
real time.
We're
Thank the
discovering
internet.
together.
The moon in Taurus means your safety depends on the need for stability, which is not easy to satisfy now.
Mm.
You have to learn to accept change as a part of your life. Yeah. The basic problem is finding your own self-respect in order to ensure that you do not mistakenly seek it in material things. I'll go for
I mean,
that.
it's not 100% always, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. These are
they're directional.
they're correctional and they're blushes. They're like looking through a lens, a colored lens.
Yeah.
When you accept yourself for who you are, it will become easier for you to find peace and tranquility in the outside world. Yeah. So that was Taurus rising on my date, which is in Aries, and then my rising sign is Scorpio.
And I could totally see the Aries and the Scorpio, and I could yes, it makes
sense, doesn't it? This explains a lot. A lot.
So then if we pick the combination of these, and when we're born is basically a choice, so we can come out with these sort of personality types in an astrological level. How have those helped you in what your soul mission is? Because they're designed to assist you. That's why you select them, because like you're optimizing, like, oh, I want to be a wizard in Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Well, you better have some intelligence. You might want to select that one,
right?
And Denise has a lot of intelligence, obviously, but I just mean.
Thank you. I do want to go back to Carl Jung at some time, because there's a lot there. Let's do that. Let's go back to Carl Jung. I do want to because
this is just one facet of the bigger thing and one interpretation of it. Because Carl Jung explained it in a different way, but there's similarities, but they're all right, and we're complex beings. So let's get into that.
Okay. Carl Jung, people think it's funny, they credit him for a lot. He's one of the founders of this, but if you start looking into him, people don't talk about him much anymore because they consider him a bit crazy. Insane is not a word in psychology, but they think because he was starting to have visions and hear things at about the age 38 that he maybe was a little, I don't want to say manic depressive because that's probably not exactly right. Schizophrenic is probably closer. So people started to discard what he was saying. For people like me, it's like, no, maybe he was connecting.
I think he probably was.
He was connecting to a universal consciousness because he talked all about universal consciousness and coming into the world with one of 12 archetypes that transcend culture. And we talk about transcending culture all the time. It's like strip away culture because the culture in Florida where you are is very different than the culture in Wisconsin. It's snowing out.
You think, definitely.
Yeah, it's different cultures. Different cultures rear different children. So you strip all that away, and what do you have? You have kind of 12 profiles of kinds of people who are driven by certain kinds of emotion. And there are some pretty revealing charts for that. Do you want to bring up a chart, Adam?
Yeah, no, which one? I have this,
Not the Myers-Briggs chart, because we're going
yes.
to talk about Myers-Briggs too, which is based on
Yeah.
Carl Jung.
So let me pull this up here. Just
And you people
this.
in marketing have seen this a lot. You might not have seen it if you're not in marketing, which might be fun and unusual for you. But these personalities, you can pretty much find your potential reactions based on and where you like to live, and you're going to live in one of these 12 things. Okay. How many signs of the zodiac are there, Adam?
That's a good question. How many are there?
12.
Right, because every
12.
month, right?
How months of the year are there? 12.
No, 12.
12.
It's like one of those trick questions, right? You're like, well, do you know how many months there are in a year?
You see a lot of 12s going on in the universe. It's a interesting number that gets repeated a lot. 13 is an interesting number too. Do you know why?
No, why?
Because there are 13 menstrual cycles to a woman.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So you see a lot of, that's the origin story of Friday the 13th. You see a lot of this is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. Okay, 12 archetypes. The three that provide structure are caregiver, ruler, creator. They all somehow align with products, brands. Caregiver, Pampers; ruler, Rolex; creator, Apple; and service, control, and innovation. Okay, they're providing structure. Let's move. Seek paradise. Okay, where's that? Innocent, sage, and explorer. Innocent, dove; sage, the BBC; explorer, our love, Patagonia. Those people all seek paradise by way of safety, knowledge, and freedom.
And before we go further on this, so think about, we talked, right, Denise? So I'm connecting here, and so the archetypes. So I feel like this would be a next sort of layer of preferences.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a Scorpio, Leo, Capricorn, that's great. That's sort of the structural part of the personality. And then now we're getting to like
how it manifests.
Yeah, how it manifests and what I like versus like, say, I like being the magician. The magician and the creator are kind of my two more favorite pieces.
Well, let's talk about magicians, and they're in the block of leaving a mark.
And by the way, in Dungeons and Dragons, I am always the wizard. That's my thing. So you guys know.
Well, if I played Dungeons and Dragons, that I would be the high priestess wizard. Do they have female?
They have a priest, a cleric, could be. You can be a male or female, or
or a female
or
wizard.
non-binary. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hero, magician, and outlaw are the block for leaving a mark, but they're based on mastery, power, and liberation. And when you think of mastery, it's Nike. Magician is Disney. And then liberation is Harley. Outlaw, Harley; magician, Disney; hero, Nike. Makes sense. Totally makes sense. And you feel to me like a magician. I think these are kind of motivations that you have.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, that's cool. That's super interesting.
Super interesting. Okay, connecting to others. You have, and that's another 3 archetype block, which is the everyman, the jester, and the lover. And when you look at that, it's like the everyman is Target, the jester is M&M's, and there's a lot of jesters out there. And the lover is like Victoria's Secret. Some people say the lover is also like an innocent. So Dove gets put in there sometimes, but let's just call it Victoria's Secret because it's a cliche. Okay, which is belonging for Target, pleasure for M&Ms.
Wait, real quickly, Victoria's Secret, wasn't that founded by a dude?
Yeah, it was founded by a dude. And
that's the secret, everyone.
Yeah. It was founded by a dude, and
I don't have his name.
I forgot his name.
I apologize,
but I don't know. It's some silly name like Ralph or something like that. Anyway, so
it's not Victoria or Victor.
No.
It would be funny if it was Victor's Secret and it's really Victoria, and he like,
Oh, why isn't there a Victor's Secret for other people who might like different kinds of clothes? And
yeah, I think
that makes sense. That makes sense.
It actually does. Kind of.
Why don't we have Victor's Secret?
Just like everything else, you heard it here first.
Get the URL now before I do. All right.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. So now we have these 12 archetypes, which came from Carl Jung, because they are universal, and you can go, and he did study. He was a bit of an anthropologist, and he did go to tribes and all over the world, observing and seeing these archetypes live outside of like the world he grew up in. So you want to guess what mine is? I know what mine is.
I was thinking about this. I almost wanted to go with the sage, but or the creator. What is it?
Sage.
Yeah. All right. How about that?
Go with your gut. Go with your gut.
Well, the first one, huh? And we did not dress rehearse this. That was
we don't dress rehearse anything.
Pure guess. We have, and we, in fairness, both of us are very familiar with archetypes because we work with clients on this all the time. So I'm asking questions in a very noob way because I just want, because a lot of people, this is new, and where I haven't explored it is how this connects, like we were talking about, is how this connects to our other personalities and I think that is super interesting.
I never thought of it, but I am going to do this as soon as we hang up our little show. I never thought of overlaying this wheel with an astrological sign wheel.
Yeah, it's like
never saw it, never thought of it. That would be
and then we're going to jump into Myers-Briggs in a second here, and I think that's like another facet of this, right? Because that's I would almost like another layer. In a way.
It is another layer. I'm going to read, I'm a sage. I'm going to read from the Archetype Bible. This was like the first book. It's got to be 40 years old now, of archetypes. Archetypes, it's called The Hero and the Outlaw, and it's specific to marketing, just so you know. The core desire of the sage is discovery of truth. Yep. The goal is to use intelligence and analysis to understand the world. Check. Greatest fear being duped, misled, or ignorance. You tell me something, I believe it. That's also an Aries thing. Strategy, seeking out information and knowledge, becoming self-reflective and understand thinking processes. Check. The trap can be study issues forever and never act. I don't want you to comment on that now, Adam. That one you can't comment on. And the gift.
There's a lot of academics. I think all of academia might fall into this.
Academia does that. Yeah. Way to get out. The gift is wisdom and intelligence. And, there are just levels that you go through of this, and every archetype goes through all the levels to gain the mastery of the archetype. So
And so
it's super interesting.
and relay the magician, so then maybe our audience can understand a little bit
Let me find magician. Hold on.
more about, Adam, so they'll have a clear
Yeah.
picture to keep listening to our podcast or run for the hills.
Yeah, let's see. Here, I'll look at magician. Hold on. Regular shuffle. Keep
So,
talking.
and while you're doing that, I want to say to all of our listeners, we will get to shadows, but we're trying to build up, because this is the foundational stuff, so you understand a bit of the triggers and what are calling the triggers, because triggers are caused in our life for multiple reasons in multiple ways, and when you mix it all up, that's where you get the source from it all.
Right. And the reason that we're doing this particular episode at this moment in time is because Adam was privy to me responding to a trigger this last week. And I don't think he ever saw that. So
yeah. It was good. I mean, well, okay. So jump in. So what's the magician?
The core desire is knowledge of the fundamental laws of how the world or universe works. The goal is to make dreams come true. The fear is unanticipated negative consequences.
That's true.
The strategy is to develop wisdom and live it. How, right on is this, Adam? Hold on. The trap is becoming manipulative.
Yes.
And the gift is finding win-win outcomes.
That's fascinating.
Everybody, Adam Vasquez. Check.
That's funny. And I've known about them, but I just never put myself, and I probably should have my personality where it was, but I've always gravitated to that regardless. And I have not read this book that Denise has, read other books, but it's one of those things of like, okay, I hear the Twilight Zone soundtrack happening in my, so.
And I love this book. Marketers have made more archetypes, and sometimes I use them. There's like 60 now.
Yeah, they get a little bit complex. They're almost sub archetypes,
yes, they are.
Refinements of like, okay, because we are complex, and I mean, we're complex beings that have spent eternity living lives, right? And all of that comes into this experience, whether you realize it or not.
Yes. And depending upon where you are in your life, I've heard people talk about archetypes as like when you're in your 20s, you may have a primary and a secondary. And then when you're in your 50s, that could change. It could flip. Depending upon the life that you have and how, the influences on your life and your life path. So now this is all not any kind of mysticism. This is psychology. This was born of psychology. And there's another, we're going to talk about Myers-Briggs, which I don't know if everybody is. It was popular like 20 years ago, even though it was originated in, it's like 1920. It was right around all this stuff that Carl Jung was doing. And it was originated by two women who are named Myers and Briggs. I think they were sisters or sister-in-laws or something like that. And Myers-Briggs is, and you can go online, lots of different places, and take the test. There's lots of tests out there for free. If you got like 20 minutes, go through, answer the questions, and it'll tell you what Myers-Briggs profile you are. So I've taken this test maybe 3 times in my life, and I always come up with the same profile. the profiles are kind of divided into introvert and extrovert first. So you're either an I introvert or an E extrovert. And then there are letters that further categorize you. What is on the screen now is one way that Myers-Briggs, either by Myers-Briggs started this or the stories reflect it, because all writers intuitively know a lot of this stuff, because writers work by way of personality, by way of creating, like, they're called Bibles for people based on motivations and influences. And Myers-Briggs is a place where a lot of writers, especially if you're doing a universe, go to make sure they got all of them covered. What's on the screen now is the Star Wars Myers-Briggs personality chart. There's 16 of them. And Adam, you go first. What you can't
We got a bunch of background noise, so I'll let you keep going.
Okay, background noise. Then I will go first. I wanted Adam to pick out which Myers-Briggs I am. He's actually making up that there is background noise because he doesn't want to pick it. Right, Adam? He's ignoring me. He's on mute. Some of these are more popular than others. I have the Myers-Briggs personality that is the smallest amount, the smallest percentage in the 100% pie. I have the 1% of people are this. Adam, has it gone away yet?
No, it's coming back. So sorry. There's always a little bit background, and I'm outside, so I apologize. I didn't think you needed to listen to lawnmowers and stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm an ENTP, right? And I think we were talking about that.
Yeah, ENTP. So. Okay, let's talk about ENTP. I can't really read it, but it's the champion. Maybe I can read it on my screen better. Hold on. Just bear with me. ENTP. Enthusiastic, idealistic, inspiring, and creative. Actively an active advocate. They have a typo here, for what they feel to be important, attracting others to their causes with excellent people skills, warmth, and positivity. Excited by new ideas, but tend to get bored with details. Characterized by their ability to inspire and motivate others with their enthusiasm and passion for life.
So what do you think? Am I an ENTP?
Check. Absolutely an ENTP.
Well, the cool thing is Thomas Edison was an ENTP. And apparently R2D2. Although I wouldn't have put R2D2 as an ENTP.
Not R2D2. No. Oh, ENTP.
Yeah.
I was doing INTP.
No,
Wait a minute. No, I was doing
EN.
Okay. I did.
I'm technically when I've taken this test before, I'm kind of in the middle on a lot of areas, and especially between the introvert and extrovert. So I could kind of, depending on the day, I could kind of cross over to an introvert or an extrovert. So I'm pretty close on that one.
Okay. I completely blew that and read the wrong.
I do think there's a lot of that.
Okay. I'm going to read this really fast because I have to correct this. Quick, innovative, curious, and resourceful. Excellent ability to understand concepts and apply logic to find solutions. Introspective and carefree nonconformists who are bored by routine. Thrive at finding crafty solutions to technical problems. Oh, this is much more you. Characterized by their ability to pursue and succeed at any risk-taking venture. That's way more you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other one, definitely I have aspects of it. Like I said, I could, depending on the day, I could fall into an INTP all day, but the I and the E is where I can cross over.
Okay. Who do you think I am?
This is more difficult. So I'll go down the list of each letter. So I think you're an I. And again, an N or an S. Again, it's intuitive, or what? Again, remind me of the N and the S.
I don't remember. I only
I'm going with, if I look at who it is.
For everyone who is just listening,
I am. Yes.
Star Wars characters right now.
I'm trying to pick.
Trying to pick who I am. Am I Obi-Wan? Am I Chewbacca? Am I Luke? Yoda? Who am I?
It's like you're not. I don't think you're judging. You're perceiving. So it's definitely an I and a P, I would say. So then, I think you're a Luke Skywalker.
Aw, that's so nice. No, I'm the Dark Lord.
Well, Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker could have gone either side.
That's true.
Just saying,
that is true.
It's a fine line. It's a choice.
Yeah, I'm the Dark Lord.
So you're the mastermind, huh?
Uh-huh.
So you are judgy, huh? I was thinking you perceived.
Okay, well, okay, I'm judgy, but I don't tell anybody. There's a difference between judging and telling somebody that you're judging. So if I don't tell anybody, then I'm okay.
No, I'm teasing. It's not like it's a negative. Being a J isn't like a negative thing, folks. It's not like when we think of judging people as being poorly. It's just how you work through a problem, So
thank you. Keep shoveling the dirt.
I love that you're Palpatine. By the way, it was Palpatine that saved the universe too. So
okay, thank you. Can I read it?
Yes, please do.
Right, I'll read it. Objective, C. Objective, independent, thorough, and adaptable, with well-developed powers of concentration. Natural leaders who strive for perfection, talented in bringing ideas from conception to reality. Expect perfection from themselves as well as others, characterized by their desire to produce mastery and achievement that reflects their brilliance.
Nice.
It
would have
been. I stand. Yep.
It would have been better if I was the architect being a Yoda, because then we would have had the light and the dark thing going on, the Dark Lord versus the Light Lord, so to speak. But yeah, I'm a droid. I'm sorry. I'm a droid.
I'm definitely an introverted person. You may not think so because I move my hands like this, but really I'm definitely an introvert.
Well, I think a lot of executives in general, which you're a very successful executive, I think a lot of us, you have to teach yourself, if you're an introvert, to succeed in the executive, the C-suite, to be an extrovert, even if it's not comfortable, right? Because that's just required from the job. So you can learn skills, but you naturally would prefer to, if you're an extroverted introvert, right? For those who are listening, are kind of confused of what makes them the difference. I think everybody understands that naturally, but I get energy from being around other people. You get energy and recharge from being solo, right? So
yes.
I can totally see that.
And I'm really terrible at a cocktail party. You don't want me there. However, if you have lunch with me or coffee, it's a great fun time, because I'm good with a single person, but I'm just making believe I'm with a single person now. But if this were a group of people, I would be, I couldn't do this. So, all right, moving along.
No, I think it's great. So and everybody's curious, the letters, right? The T in ENTP, that's thinking, versus F, which is feeling. So do you feel your way through a situation, or do you think your way through the situation? And then S, N and S, and you can look this up real quick, Denise, for me. But that's sensing, I believe, versus.
See how we're unprepared to do this show?
Well, we weren't going to originally show the
No.
intuitive. So that's.
Okay. Extroversion, introversion.
Yep.
How you focus your attention. Or the way you take in information.
Yep.
Sensing is an S.
Yep.
And intuition is an N. How you make decisions. T is thinking. F is feeling.
Yep.
How you deal with the world. J is judging or perceiving as a P.
Exactamundi. So thank you for that. So again, another layer to this multifaceted personality, and so that's the really the other key portion that we have not layered over top of all of this is experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about, like Carl Jung said, and we've talked about, we think about, and I'm just kind of layering this as we talk about this. I'm not saying this is the right order or whatever else. I would put our zodiac signs on the top as the sort of, or on the bottom, or whatever, the bottom foundation or the top most important.
Agreed.
Then I would say the next is archetypes at the next layer.
Yes. Agreed.
Then the next layer below that would be the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Sure.
Getting more specific, getting more detailed, more nuanced as we get deeper.
Yes.
And then that's sort of the lens, but then the bottom, the most complex, which is the most individualized, is our experiences.
Yeah, and our experiences includes how we were raised by certain people who also have these cocktails of motivation and fears and desires who influence and imprint on who we are.
And here's the crazy part is we all sit in we're talking about soul groups now. Go back to soul groups and how we select. So our parents, we select our parents because, and then we all coordinate the sort of all of this stuff, at least our zodiac signs, because we need our parents to have a certain personality type in this base layer so they can support us in our growth and get the catalysts and create the experiences that we need to then leverage our strengths. So you see how it's all connected and intertwined? Like,
it's a mind-blown thing.
I mean, so everybody is connected, and we all compared notes and selected what we wanted to do to all sort of integrate it. And, it should just make you just in just awe of it all. I mean,
in awe. And also, I'm at peace with it all. It's both awe and peace to me. Because, and if anybody's out there going, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit, and that's not the way the world works, or that's not the way this works, it's like, what do you know of the world and the universe? If you're looking at the only thing that you can see or hear or feel, then you're kind of lopping off a whole lot of influences, species. There are species all around us. You just can't see them.
Well, you think about that, because dogs have personalities. Absolutely. Pets, animals. And then I bet you zodiac signs even apply to them the different layers. So the layers, they may be less complex, but they're still there.
One of the things I've always wanted to do, this is a $1 million idea, and you heard it here first. And I had this idea 20 years ago. A lot of my ideas are 20 years old, just FYI. but it's tarot cards for dogs. So if you are a dog's parent and you flip the tarot cards over, and what I was going to do is I was going to massively test this, many hundreds of dogs and owners. But if you flip them over, then you can, tell what's going on with your dog and what they're thinking. Because we said it in another episode, prayer is kind of when you talk to God, or meditation, and the tarot is when the universe talks to you. So it's just it's a mechanism. So I always felt that could work.
Yeah, it could work. Why wouldn't? I mean, it should. I mean,
it should.
I mean, all the past life and the near-death experience research and the interviews with children that remember their past lives and what it was, because the veil's the thinnest.
Yes.
All consistently know that our pets are with us. They may be at a different density level than us at a soul level, because actually all of us have gone through as animal experience. We are technically still animals in these bodies, but not, saying we're more self-aware and all this stuff.
We're less furry.
But what is funny, because it's a choice, right? And a lot of animals stay animals because, or pets, or because they like that experience better than the human one. And so it's the soul takes the choice, right? So you're like, I want to be a dog because I like being a dog better than being a human. Yeah. I'd rather play the game as a dog.
Don't blame them.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. What we do is not easy here at the human level. No. So then, they are there as part of your soul tribe. Your pets are a part of your soul group.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they may have been a horse in a former life. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker, Denise. If we existed before cars, then all of us had horses in our lives, right? I mean,
I love that. Yes.
So then now that we don't need horses, what happens to our soul group? Now they could have just said like, hey, we're not coming in this incarnation, but chances are they didn't. So then they're probably our dogs. Our dogs were probably our horses.
That's another mind blowing thing. That's cool.
And have you ever seen a dog that one of my dogs gallops like a horse, and I'm like, God, he gallops like a horse. He kind of acts like a horse too. And he probably was a horse. And then my other dog, she kind of acts like a cat. And some of it's the kind of breed, but again, I think you choose the breed that you feel comfortable in, that you want to be in, because that's going to bring what you like out of the experience, right? So, and animals are very playful, right? They're meant, they want to play, they want to have fun. The universe is meant to be playful and have fun for those who are listening. It's not, we're supposed to learn, but there's paths, right? We've talked about, you can go the seems harder, the positivity path, which is it is more fun because I can tell you more experience, more interesting, you're more in gratitude, you're always feeling better. Or you can go to the negative path where everything's hard and everything else, and the universe is evil and it's just trying to take from you, and nature just survival of the fittest. But animals personify that playfulness that is natural in the universe if you really watch them, right? Yeah.
I love how during my lifetime, the perception of animals has significantly changed. And that has been with the advent of, phones that you carry around that can take pictures. Because I remember it's like, animals don't feel pain. Animals don't use tools. Animals are not analytic. Animals can't remember. All of that is a bunch of garbage. So everyone listening, you have to kind of know that so much of, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that not everything that is taken to be true is truth, because it comes through the lens of people who have limiting beliefs. And so just saying, I didn't tell everybody, but I guess now I'm telling the world. I am talking to animal communicator next week.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. On the other side,
understand.
then the other side, they talk to us like we're equals, right? So
Yeah.
like we're all peer. These are our peers. This is our family. You know, they're and have you ever met a person that seems like there's a new human experience for them? You
Oh,
know,
hell yes.
you're like, I think you might have been a dog before or something, but this is new for you. Like, welcome to planet Earth as a
They're
human.
so pure and they're so wide-eyed about the simplest things.
And
That
a bit, some of them are a bit awkward too, depending, right?
Yes.
You're like, I don't know if they're from this planet. Well, they probably aren't, because none of us are. Most of us aren't. Some of us are, but it's fascinating.
We haven't figured that part out yet, listeners. Like how to tell. There's at least I have not found a test. You can test yourself for Myers-Briggs, but I haven't found a test for what planet did I originate on.
Oh, there are, but they're kind of little weird personality test like things. Like they're fun, sort of quirky tests. So there are, but I will send you some links. I could put them down here, but I don't. How credible they are, and how you determine that. I think the best way to test it is doing a past life regression analysis, I think. And then there are experts that will walk you through your origin of your soul origin, actually. And you can get, I've told everybody we've talked about my soul origin and how I got there. And it's an intuitive sort of feeling type of way to get there, because you'll just know, like there's a knowingness. Like there's certain things, like I may not have specific facts other than a knowingness, and there's some knowingness there because of all my other experiences. I just know it feels right to me. So so let's talk about, so we got these personalities, we got these layers, we got these experiences that are creating things. We talked about this life being really a purpose. The purpose of life is obviously to enjoy it, but really to catalyze and ascend ourselves so that we can really learn and get closer to oneness with source and love, right? And so we put all these obstacles, the team in place, the souls, the animals, everything to get us the quickest way to ascension as possible in the best way that's right for us and our own personality and everybody else on this journey. So, when we talk about shadow, first I realized we should embrace our shadow, right? I think Carl Jung even said that the shadow is who is part of us, right?
Yeah, it is part of us. And it is something that, it was a great play on words, but it was something like you have to explore your shadow because it is part of you. And exploring the shadow, and I'm looking at, I think I wrote it
because by going through the shadow is how we discover ourselves and get closer to source, right? So like Jesus Christ had a shadow, a deep shadow. He might have worked through it in a lot of lives, and now he was helping get other people get through it. Dalai Lama, the same thing, deep shadows, and he's aware of them.
And they don't necessarily come up as anger or something.
Although they
absolutely can. Yeah. Tip over a table kind of stuff. They absolutely can. But I think they come by way of intensity. That's what I'm going to throw out there, because intensity is part of the shadow, but I would also argue that intensity is part of fight, flight, or fight, because intensity, we talk about higher vibrations all the time. We talk about living up there, but I'm going to keep talking. We talk about higher vibrations all the time and living this life of goodness, but it doesn't mean that you need to be without emotion or benign to consequences, benign to culture, benign to attacks, benign to fear, because all of those things are still real, or they are products of culture that have been ingrained in you for a really, really, really long time. Adam, are you available to speak, or shall I continue?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I said before that this particular topic came because Adam saw the non-stoic. I'm not Marcus Aurelius, but I am kind of the kind of person that through my life, it's like, oh, the house burned down. Yeah, okay, well, let's go build another house. Or, oh, there's a car accident. All right, what can I do to help? I don't get flustered. I just don't get flustered very much. Never did. So that is just how I am wired. And it's almost like I live in two places. It's like I don't respond emotionally to things very much. However, I might have responded to something a little stronger and with more intensity this week because maybe it hit one of my shadows, or maybe it, I'm going to argue it's not a shadow that was inside of me. I'm going to argue because I'm trying to be perfect, because all of the things say that I'm supposed to be perfect. I'm going to argue that the shadow was cultural shadow. And the cultural shadow that I was responding to is something that a lot of women have.
Well, let's talk about the trigger exactly, and the setup of. We don't need to talk about names, but it's the point of. So, when we talk about sort of triggers, right? These are things like experiences, what have triggered. So like for me, one of them is my age was a trigger. And how that became a trigger was through being the youngest person in a boardroom.
I was always the youngest person too. I was a vice president when I was 24.
There you go. See, and not everybody didn't create a trigger for everyone, but for me, it was a lot of people would just come to me. And so I'd be sitting in a board meeting and they basically say, okay, son, you don't know what you're talking about. Sit over there in the corner. Son, and literally I've been called son a bunch of times. You don't have an experience enough. Or they change the posture. They're like, he doesn't have the experience to back up what he's saying. Like, where should we listen to this kid? So when somebody has a similar conversation with me, when I bring up an idea in a room, and I'm not the youngest person in the room anymore, it still triggers a defensive response to the point of where it may come in an extreme with well, I'll put them down, not like you're stupid, although sometimes maybe I feel that way, to more of a start getting aggressive, like raising my voice, getting my posture, getting like big in the room against them, and posturing and being really frankly defensive, like they're about ready to hurt me. And
that's kind of what happened a little bit, but I wasn't defensive. I was aggressive.
Well, but it comes from a defensiveness of a fear. That's what I mean. So that's why I say it's like all rooted in fear.
1,000 ducks. You're talking about the peck of 1,000 ducks on how you were the youngest. Okay, women have this all the freaking time.
Oh, no doubt.
All the time.
Yes.
Completely. And one of the reasons that I started a business, and this business was like a geodesic dome around all of us. We were in this environment where none of that shit happened. And then when the business was gone and I came out into the world, I looked around and went, oh my God, this is what all the women are talking about. This is what they've been saying. Because I never filed for a women-owned business, even though I could have, because it's like I rejected all that. I don't want to help. You look at this business as on its merits and not on my sex. Thank you. But I came out and I went, holy crap, my God, the disrespect, the subtle disrespect that women get all the freaking time. And people don't even know they're doing it. And so I give them a pass because they don't even know they're doing it. But I might have mentioned it on this show once before. I mentioned it on some show. But even Obama's cabinet, the women on his cabinet sitting around that big table made a pact that they would, after someone spoke, they would mention their name and say, that was a good idea, Sarah, because all the men would pile on and take the ideas for their own. That's in Obama's cabinet.
Yep.
It's a, we get put into a subtle place of people not hearing us. You hear that a lot. Oh, that person hears me. Not hearing us. And then there's a subtle place where men do this and women got to make it work. Women have to make it happen. Women have to figure it out. Women have to do all this stuff, which is fine, but they have to be respected that they originated the idea. So,
well, and for me, yeah, I mean, that's a trigger that impacts a lot of people, obviously, and it comes, you know, it comes in gender, it comes in age, it comes in race, you know,
race, all of the things that get maligned, they all have the same story.
And so then when I'm thinking about another example for me is, you know, I was labeled with a learning disability growing up, and a labeling is what the best way of calling it, because honestly, once I learned how to learn my way, I was straight A student ever since, no problem, right? And
you're kind of like a all-American, kind of like in everything.
There's a lot of work that goes behind that. If it is, and I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. It makes me feel good. But you know, I was labeled in some ways stupid, right? So
I was held back from kindergarten because I was socially unadjusted.
Interesting. Okay, but those become important experiences that honestly fundamentally drive our, you know, catalysts, and those are put into our experiences to overcome, whether it's bad old karma cycles that we're trying to or there could be a karmic cycle or connection with one of those individuals that is doing that to us, or we're doing it to them, because it's the other way around too.
Oh, so that's true.
So it goes both
ways.
We're
bringing out their evil. If they're throwing their evil at us, we're bringing it out.
Yeah, and it's that vibration, right? So it's in our thoughts. So we can't you know, so when a trigger comes up, and, you know, making me feel like that's a stupid idea, that would be a trigger for me. And I'd be like, well, let me tell you how stupid you are, because you can't even understand this and comprehend this. Your brain doesn't even work this way as good as mine does, right? Because I come at it from a new way, because all the institution, you know, this is me coming out as a trigger, as a response. Because the way I would look at it is the whole school system is messed up, because, you know, it's all legacy beliefs, and most industries are institutional by people that don't understand things and are trying to hold us in the past. And I see a totally different future because I think differently and I'm from a different perspective and at a higher level of ascension. But now that's seen like an ego, right? Like an ego is coming through there. And you know, it comes in waves, but it comes up to the surface. And when it comes up to the surface, I've realized over time, that's a gift, because that allows you to heal it, because you can't heal it if it is buried. And so when it comes,
interesting. Yeah.
So when it comes up, that's an opportunity to uncover, like, why am I acting this way? Because if you don't do it, it sabotages you, and how it sabotages is it pulls you back into that energy and keeps you in catalysts until you do solve it. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks.
Right. Well, right. It's like I always tell everybody, like, fear in general, like, because fear is the root cause of all of this, right?
Yes.
the fear of like
Fear
being
is the mind
competitive
killer.
is fear, right? So it's like there's a bag, pick it up and just drop it, and no go back, and but recognize it will come up in service, and it will keep surfacing until you've forgiven yourself first, the other person, and have made a commitment that you don't, that's old energy, you don't want to go back there.
Right.
But
I
it
found
will keep bringing you back, and it will keep sabotaging your future, which we see all the time. It's like we see
self-sabotage.
so it's like
Yes.
so it's funny. It's like lotto winners, right? So lottery winners are not on the frequency of money like we think that they are, right? They haven't learned the skills, and they have still the beliefs and the triggers and everything else. It's part of why they never really learn how to leverage money and appreciate it and be grateful for it. That's why most lotto winners lose it after they get it, because then get brought back. But I think
I still want to play the lottery.
No. But I mean, I think you would be fine if you won the lottery, because you know how to manage money and work in that frequency. But a lot of people, I'm not saying lotto is bad. I think, and by the way, there's a whole studies and interesting research on how people are using law of attraction, law of vibration to consistently win the lotto. So
yeah, me too, but it's not worked yet. So I have to get that. It's not worked yet, but who knows? I could be a winner right now.
There's some block, or there's some divine timing on it all, right?
Correct.
So you just think about that, right? And so then when people and I'm like, people ask me all the time, like, why do you poke the bear? And it was a conversation we were having with our CFO who's on our team, William Halgren. Today we were talking about the topic of just triggers, and I was explaining to him, like, well, just make sure when I have a trigger, you see it triggered, you call me out on it, not like meanly, but in a kind way, and then I can work on it, right? Because I might not see it. And he's like, yeah, well, I like poking triggers. And I was like, you know what? I kind of do too. And maybe that's a subconscious in me that is like trying to help people work through their triggers, because I know through those shadow and the triggers, that's how we grow ultimately in a catalyst. But most people don't stop to even recognize those triggers, right?
Yeah, you and I just had this thought. Truly, I haven't had it before, but you brought it out. One of the things that I've always hated is I hate getting teased. Like getting teased, I have to shut that person down. And normally I used to think about, I'm getting angry. Because like I turn into like, I'm shutting that person down, shutting them down right now. Mm-hmm. When I get teased, because something in there doesn't sit well with me. And I don't like when other people tease each other either. But
yeah, I mean,
I have 3 children who tease each other incessantly.
Well, I think there's good timing and bad timing. And I don't like when you're that's how you show love all the time. It gets exhausting, honestly. But sometimes, growing up in a household where it's like, if you didn't get teased, that means they didn't love you, type of thing, right? I heard that. You would hear that. But that's
totally bullshit. By the way, I'm going out with that.
Okay. I think there's
hear it all the time.
No, I think there's some intellectual fun. I think there's some intellectual fun there, but it's not, if your intent's right and everybody knows their intent is right and it's all of it, and we move past it. But you got to be careful. First, you can't do it early on in somebody's development, because you're making them feel stupid.
No.
It's like anything. It can't be your go-to toolbox all the time. Not everything should look like a nail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's fun there, for you and I. There's a tease because it's intellectually, it's funny. You're like, man, that's freaking clever and funny how you said that. You're right, but then, because I'm at a point that I appreciate it.
They're very subtle teases. We don't.
No, that's right. That's right.
Teases.
But at the wrong time, or if somebody's feeling vulnerable or not full or not like in a lax side, it becomes extremely erosive. Mm-hmm. And corrosive, So,
I don't know if you wanted to do something, but I found this website recently, and they had a pretty good fun list of monsters on what kind of monster you are, which is your shadow, and
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
what
Yeah.
fear servant. Okay, and maybe we can get these people on our website, on our show one day. It's loner.
Would you want to put it in
lonerwolf.com.
post it in the comment?
Sure.
Can
I? I don't know.
We're gonna try.
Oh my goodness.
For those who don't know, we use StreamYard. I'm not endorsing. It's a good tool. Allows us to do a lot of stuff. It should be able to post it right in the comments, but maybe not.
Hold on. I'm trying, but I doubt if it'll work because nothing I do works.
Oh, see now, there you go. So that's the law of attraction right there.
It correctly. I am attracting.
So Slack it to me. We use Slack as well.
All right. It's everyone. It's lonerwolf.com shadow self. I'm going to Slack it to you right now.
So you're right. So we all have monsters and self-defeating talk, as we talked about it. Even us elites, that's a bad term. Us that practice this all the time and try to work on this, will say things like, "This never works for me," and then I always say, "Well, it never will if you say that," right? See, and there's that trigger, right? So,
okay, let's go through these really quick.
Okay, hold on.
I think they're really fun. They're really interesting, and I Slacked it to you on our channel, and it's lonerwolf.com shadow-self. All right, the egotistical monster. Root cause, primal fear of not being good enough, not existing and being nobody. And this person displays the following characteristics: arrogance, egocentricity, pompousness, inconsiderateness, self-indulgent, narcissism, and excessive pride. Oh, are you going to it? Yeah, you got to scroll down. Scroll down.
Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Scroll down. There you are.
There you go, monsters.
You better turn off. I will go through these. You're very loud, Adam. Okay.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, we can see him in the back. The egotistical monster. So I thought that was really interesting because you could lump everybody knows someone like this. I think the whole world knows someone like this. Not being good enough. That probably came from childhood. Neurotic monster. Root cause, fear of life, others, and self. Desire to regain control. Following characteristics: paranoia, obsessiveness, suspiciousness, finicky, demanding, I can't say that word, misogynist, machoist, I can't do it.
Masochist.
Thank you. Right? And compulsive behavior. Interesting. Okay, this is all pseudoscience, everyone, but I'm kind of going, I get that. And as a marketer, if I were a marketer that leveraged fear, I'd be all over this list. Because you could basically dissect a target psychographic based on this and go all over it.
Well, I like this untrustworthy monster, just fear in life in general. That's tough.
Yeah. Secretive, impulsive, frivolous, irresponsible, deceitful, unreliable. That makes sense. Again, if you're a screenwriter or a novelist, this is the persona that you're creating as a character is all listed here, and all these things can come out. The we just did that. The emotionally unstable monster. Root cause, being unlovable and powerless. Reaction to unresolved emotional pain. Moody, melodramatic, manipulative, weepy, over-emotional, impulsive, changeable. Interesting. The controlling monster. Root cause, basic mistrust of life, feelings of abandonment and not being good enough. Suspicious, jealous, possessive, bossy, obsessive. Cynical monster. Feeling too vulnerable, displaying the following characteristics: negative, overcritical, patronizing, resentful, cantankerous. I know a lot of cynical monsters.
Yeah, I do too. That's a fairly common, or that's our frequency. We get a lot of cynical monsters around us, Denise. Maybe that's we're somehow shaking off that karma somehow. You know,
the wrathful monster. Root cause, fear of others, mistrust of life, closed heart. Following characteristics: ruthless, vengeful, bitchy, quick-tempered, quarrelsome. Know a couple of those too. The rigid monster. Root cause, fear and rejection of the unknown, chaos, and ego death. This person displays the following characteristics: uptight, intolerant, racist, sexist, ableist. I don't know what that is. Homophobic, obstinate, uncompromising, inflexible, and narrow-minded. Got a lot of those in the United States.
Yep.
Too many. Way too many. The glib monster. Distrust of life, others, and self. Following characteristics: superficial, cunning, inconsistent, sly, and crafty. Those people might be politicians.
Yep.
The nonchalant monster. Buried grief, fear, and shame. Numbness is a defense. Characteristics: emotionally detached, distant, indifferent, uncaring, and unexcited.
That's somebody that's at that apathy level on the
Yeah.
vibration. Now, actually, that would be interesting to then add a layer of the what vibratory levels are they're all lower. I mean, they're all fear-based, so they're all lower level vibrations. But I think every one of us may have a little bit of each monster too. It's not like anybody's kind of all in the one, right?
Yeah, and I'm looking at these going, not me, not me, not me, not me. When I got to that one, I went, ooh, emotionally detached, distant, indifferent. I call it the oil slick, and every once in a while, I'll just have this oil slick of being unaware and detached from whatever's going on around me. And then I go, what the hell? It's the oil slick in me. So that one might have something to do with something. So. Perverted monster. Root cause, repressed sexual energy, possible unresolved childhood wounds. Following characteristics: sadistic, lustful, depraved, corrupt. We gotta get rid of all of those. Cowardly monster. Root cause, fear, disbelief in self. This person displays the following characteristics: weak-willed, timid, and fearful. Disbelief in self.
It's funny. It's funny when you think about the cowardly monster. I think fear of turning into one of these monsters is its own monster.
Oh, that's right? That's like the game inside the game inside the game inside the mirror. Yeah.
The cowardly monster is probably one of the monsters that I'm most afraid of myself turning into.
Oh, interesting. So anybody might, if they fear that, would overcompensate by doing the opposite of what these things are: weak-willed, right, strong-willed, timid, and fearful, fearless.
Yep.
Interesting.
But that's the other side. You need balance, right?
Yeah. And the last one, the naive monster, root cause, refusal to grow up, lack of individuated ego. I've never heard of the word individuated, but it's here. Person displays the following characteristics. There's a lot of words in here I never knew. Puerile, petty, immature, illogical, simple-minded, and vacuous.
Yeah, I'm glad you're reading this, Denise.
What are these words? Oh my God.
You passed.
I'm good at words, but only if they're 5 letters long because I play a good word roll.
Well, that's like, okay. On a side note, people hate playing Scrabble against me because I will win with 3-letter words. I'm not afraid to.
It's so funny. I will take you on the next time I see you in person, which hardly ever happens. We will play Scrabble and see what happens. Yeah. It's a challenge.
And so I play with lawyers sometimes, just friends that are lawyers, and they love to talk about big words and use big words to just show how studious they are in the words that they use. And I'm not saying that's negative. It's like, I guess I'm being a little snarky, and maybe that's that trigger, right, about the intelligence thing. But yeah, I just, I'm playing to win. I'm playing Scrabble to win.
Yeah.
I'm not playing it to show people how smart I am.
2 letters in and then get this way, and this way. You win on a double, triple word score.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get those. I'm playing the board and trying to get those. Yeah. Now, if I can put together a 17-letter word and clear everything I got, awesome. But
that's few and far between.
That's opportunistic at best for me. Yeah. So cool. That's super interesting, Denise. So you're right. I feel like we all have these monsters, and we got 3 minutes left. I'll say my part, and then I'll let you kind of conclude, Denise. And we have so many, these monsters, these layers of personalities. It's a bit overwhelming. So I think the thing that I've, scraping all this away and dropping all of this, it just goes back to how you feel, right? How you feel is your internal compass. And that is designed in us to direct us to the right, keep us on path, at our highest level path. And I made a commitment to myself that this lifetime, I would live it at the highest level path that I could follow, so that I knew when I went on the other side, they were like, well, there's nothing else you could have done. That was the highest path. That was the ultimate path you followed. And maybe it doesn't feel like it a lot of the time, but I think when you strive for that, that's the point, I guess, is what I'm saying. So my advice to everyone who's listening is just be quiet and listen to yourself, and then ask yourself why, and don't be afraid of the shadow, and don't be scared of what you're going to uncover. And that's self-healing. And if more people did that, I think a lot of therapists wouldn't have jobs anymore. And I think there would be less mental disease. I think there'd be a lot of that. And I'm not saying it's easy and all that stuff. So I don't want to take anything away from anybody that has those things. But I do believe these internal mechanisms and conversations and this sort of model of following, sort of asking these questions, is the shadow work we're on this lifetime to do. And that's the shadow work we're here to do. And most people don't do the shadow work, which to me is just a puzzle, because that's the point. So I'll say thank you to everybody, and thank you to you, Denise, for again doing this. But before I'm not concluding it, I just want to say thank you, and I want you to have the last word. So Denise, thank you very much. This is fabulous. So what are your parting thoughts and advice for everyone?
Well, what you said about making a commitment to yourself to follow the highest path, the highest vibration path, that is genius. And if everybody did that, it would solve a lot of problems for people, because it is binary. Is this part of my high path or part of my low path? If it's part of my low path, I don't feel it, do it. If it's part of my high path, I do. And somebody told me, it was in high school, actually. It was that high school philosophy teacher who talked about the duality of self, in the sense that, and there's lots of definitions for that. His definition was, there's a little person inside of you, kind of like a Men in Black thing. There's a little creature inside of you that is feeling, and then there's your outside, or it's your outside that is feeling, and your inside is watching you feel. So think about it again. Your outside is feeling, but your inside is watching you feel. So to work on that shadow, focus on watching yourself.
Becoming an observer of yourself, right?
Yes. And stop multiple times in the day and go, okay, I'm observing myself. If you wear glasses, look at the frames of your glasses rather than look through. And that's, you'll get this understanding, because I usually wear glasses, but not here, of, oh my God, there's more to my vision than I am seeing. And there's more to experience than what I'm, and then you'll start to get division between those two. And it's very helpful to stay stoic that way and not respond to triggers if you do that. Those are my parting words.
Well,
thank you, Adam. As always, this was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you, Denise. Thanks, everyone. I apologize for some of the background noise. I hope it wasn't too bad. But it's live. We're outside. I wanted to do it outside, and grateful for the grounds crew that were coming here and cleaning up the yard. So I can't stop that, and I hope everyone forgives us for that, or me. I really appreciate you, Denise. I really appreciate this conversation, because I don't think we have this enough. And if leaders in the business had this conversation more and thought about it reflectively on themselves, and then helped people guide through this at a personal level in the office, I think things would just be different.
Yes, it would be better. They would be better for everyone. They would be more productive. And people would actually want to go to work, to be in an environment of empathy and understanding. So nothing wrong with that.
Awesome. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, everyone. Have a glorious week. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.